Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It is a Tuesday that feels like a Monday, May 30th. I hope you had a meaningful Memorial Day. You're listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening today in America. DC moves closer to a debt deal. The woke Little Mermaid actually wins at the box office. Russia wants to arrest one of our senators. And a toddler in North Korea is sentenced to life in prison. We'll tell you why coming up. And then we have your message of the day. But first, Joe Biden and Speaker Kevin McCarthy have reportedly struck a deal to raise the nation's debt limit. The agreement includes caps on federal spending, additional work requirements for food stamps and welfare, and reforms to build more green energy projects. The Treasury Department believes the U.S. will run out of money as early as June 5th. The deal now heads to Congress for a full vote. Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid earned $120 million over the weekend. That's the fourth biggest opening during the Memorial Day holiday. Have you seen it? The trailer? It looks bizarre. The New York Times getting some heat after the following review. Quote, The Little Mermaid reeks of obligation of noble intentions, but joy, fun, mystery, risk, and kink, they're missing. The Kremlin issuing an arrest warrant for Senator Lindsey Graham. The Republican recently told Ukrainian President Zelensky that American money was well spent because it's being used to kill Russians. Moscow's investigative committee opened a criminal investigation against Graham, and the Interior Ministry followed up with a warrant for his arrest. Graham said, quote, to know that my commitment to Ukraine has drawn the ire of Putin's regime brings me immense joy. A 2-year-old and his entire family were sentenced to life in prison in North Korea. Why? What gets you life in prison these days in wonderful North Korea? Owning a Bible. Now, the incident took place in 2009, but was recently confirmed in a new report from the U.S. State Department on human rights abuses by the communist dictatorship. The agency believes that there are up to 400,000 Christians in North Korea. That is a country where any religious display will get you killed. Can you imagine that? Imagine being a Christian in North Korea. And there's people here in America who don't go to church because they're tired or something. Also, this ties in perfectly to the Something You May Not Know segment, where we are going to be talking about literal mind control here in America. Literal, actual mind control. I talked to a defector from North Korea years ago, and they believe that Kim Jong-un can read your mind. Well, our government's not that far from that. We'll talk about that coming up. Mike Slater, filling in for the great Bill O'Reilly.
The chairman of the Fed is promising more pain ahead. Last year, stocks dropped 20%, and this year could be worse. You are right to be worried. So please call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They'll show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Since I have been a client and spokesperson, the price of gold has appreciated more than 35%. So please call today and they'll have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $5,000 of free silver on your first order. Please call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD GOLD to 65532. Again, 877-444-GOLD or text GOLD to 65532.
Hey, this is Mike Slater filling in for Bill O'Reilly. Now it's time for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. So the 2022 U.S. History test scores came out for 8th graders. This is known as the Nation's Report Card. What percentage of kids do you believe are proficient in U.S. history? Now, let's keep in mind the low bar for proficiency. We're not asking a lot here. So what percent do you think are proficient? 80%? I couldn't even get that one out. 50%? Wow, that'd be bad. If only 50% of kids were proficient in the very basics of our country. 30% proficient? No. It can't be that low. So what do you think? What percent of kids are proficient? Try 13%. That is unsustainably bad. This should be a great national outcry. This should be the headline of every news show in America. And in a sane nation, in a nation that wanted to survive, this is all anyone would be talking about. And every news outlet, every TV show would be like, we interrupt our normal programming. Go buy a U.S. history book and read it tonight. Instead of watching this dumb show, read the basics of U.S. history. But we don't. No one even cares. It is absolutely shameful. We should be disgusted with ourselves. We should not be able to go on another day like this. We are turning into idiocracy. Elon Musk was on Bill Maher's show the other day, and he was telling the story about a friend of his who has kids in school. And he asked his kids, name a president. And they miraculously were able to come up with one of them, George Washington. They said, okay, tell me something about him. And all they could say was slave owner. And Elon was aghast. He's like, yeah, but you got to know something else about him, right? Right? No, just the slave thing. That's all the kids were taught. I didn't know this, but many of our founders near the end of their life were very worried about the republic that they built. John Adams many times made the point that we could make the best system of government, but without a religious and moral people, it won't work. And he lamented later in life, he said, there's so much dishonesty and corruption and greed and ambition, such a rage for profit among all ranks and degrees of men, that I sometimes doubt whether there is public virtue enough to support a republic. Thomas Jefferson, he said, at some future day, which I hoped to be very distant, the free principles of our government might change. But I certainly did not expect that they would not outlive the generation which established them. Right? So that's Thomas Jefferson being like, yeah, listen, I really hoped that this thing would last a long time. It's not going to last forever, but I thought it'd last a long time. I certainly thought it would last longer than my lifetime. Thomas Jefferson said that about 200 years ago. So maybe in some ways we're already on borrowed time. Maybe it's a miracle that we lasted even this long. And when 13% of 8th graders are proficient in our history, can a country survive that? And when the only thing that those kids do know about our history is made up bad stuff, gosh, it makes me wonder if people even want it to survive. We got to take matters in our own hands. We need to know our history. Our kids need to know our history. It'll be like a superpower to have kids who know where we came from and who we are and where we should go. What a joy it is to be the keepers of our national purpose. I'm Mike Slater, filling in for Bill O'Reilly. Something you might not know. Next.
Ad paid for by Abadian and Totalian. COVID-19 was tough on businesses. If you experienced a negative impact to your business during the pandemic and have at least 5 W-2 employees, then you need to pay attention. There are some new powerful incentives that have been created specifically for businesses impacted by COVID-19. One such program is the Employee Retention Credit. Its tax incentive could bring you some serious cash back to your business. Even if you received a PPP loan in 2020 or 2021, you were still permitted to receive this credit. There are many ways to be eligible, and taking advantage of this tax credit doesn't need to be complicated. We made it easy for you by doing the legwork to maximize the amount of your refund due. Call us today at 800-862-0585 and we'll set your business up to take full advantage of the Employee Retention Tax Credit. That's 800-862-0585. Again, 800-862-0585. We'll get the ball rolling on getting you and your business some much needed relief, but time is limited to file a claim. So call 800-862-0585.
Hey, Mike Slater, filling in for Bill O'Reilly. Now it's time for something you might not know. The FDA just approved the next step of Elon Musk's Neuralink. Every day, there's a new story about artificial intelligence. Is this something you need to be concerned about? Yes, very, very much. Artificial intelligence on net, I believe, will be a very bad thing. Here's the problem with new technologies like artificial intelligence. One, it will change everything. Just like the printing press. There was no old Europe plus a printing press. It was a new Europe. Just like television. It wasn't America before TV, but they just added TV to it. No, TV changed everything. And it's the same with artificial intelligence and major technological breakthroughs like that. Second, we only consider the good things of a new technology. We never consider the unintended consequences or the bad things. Take the internet itself. We were pitched on the internet being this amazing thing that would bring us closer together. Has it? Or has the internet made us more isolated and depressed and miserable and lonely than ever before. Third, once a new technology comes around, we can't imagine life without it. So there's no going back. And fourth, new technologies change how we think. Case in point, Elon Musk's Neuralink. So the FDA just approved this company to test their product in human beings. Human testing. Test for what, you ask? Implanting computer chips into people's brains. So Elon says that the biggest hindrance in technological growth is the speed of your thumbs. You can only text someone so fast. So his idea is, let's just insert the computer chip directly into your brain. Problem solved. So now his goal is you can just think things and you'll know the answer because you'll constantly be connected to the internet. It's great, right? But very few have noticed that if you are constantly connected to the internet, then the internet is also constantly connected to you. And who is in charge of said internet and what they're feeding directly into your brain? It's insane. So be careful with old Elon. Over here, he's saying we need to pause artificial intelligence for the next 6 months to really make sure we know what we're doing here. And then he goes to his day job of implanting computer chips into people's brains. And of course, the FDA is approving this. Why wouldn't they? It's literal mind control. You don't think bad people would love to get their hands all over this? Watch out. It's a brave new world.
If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or have no warranty at all, listen up. Car Shield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that's now available to the public. Save on out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. So please call Car Shield now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. 800-925-7584 for a free quote. This protection plan is at an all-time low in price. Drivers who activate the vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. So please call for your free quote, 800-925-7584, 800-925-7584. Hey, what do you have to lose? 800-925-7584.
Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith, filling in for Bill O'Reilly.